Hi everyone, it's Linda here. How are you all today? I'm doing good. I saw a video on somebody else had put on, a friend of mine, Sadie, on coming out of the psychic closet and what it's like for her. And, she does a really good job on her videos, and I don't have the equipment she has. She's really cool at the way she does her videos, and really want to meet her one day so that she can show me and teach me how, help me upgrade my equipment too, maybe. But, yeah, coming out of the psychic closet. Yeah, what is that like for you? Well, I'll tell you what it's like for me. I was a walk-in, so I came in at age 3, and this body got shot in the eye. Spirit that was in here died, left, and I kind of replaced her. I don't know why. I don't know how this works exactly or anything like that. But I pretty much knew some things, and I had these knowings about me, and, I kept getting these things like, I had Jesus with me at first when I first came, and he blessed me a lot and held me a lot and tried to help me understand what was going on in the world a lot. So, what is coming out of the psychic closet? The psychic closet is like, wow, all of that stuff that we were never allowed to talk about, and that everybody would laugh at us if we said we knew these things, and nobody could believe that we knew these things, it just wasn't there. And so, yeah, there was just things that I knew, and things that I was told, and things that I kept to myself for a really, really long time. And there were things that happened to me, and I had dreams. And I had dreams for 20 years about this boy who would come and help me and save me and such. And one day, like 20 years into having dreams from the time I got here to whatever, he was in the movies, and I recognized him as being the same boy that was helping me in my dreams. But it never occurred to me until recently, because this is coming out of the psychic closet, that person was my twin. Okay, I figured out 20 years ago that it was Vin Diesel, but I didn't figure out that that meant anything. I didn't figure out that it even meant that I was going to make movies with him one day, even though I've been having dreams about making movies with him. I didn't realize what it all meant, so coming out of the psychic closet is like, wow, yeah, it's, it's, just dawning or whatever. It's like you're finally listening to your cells. Your cells are your brain. Your brain is your brain has nothing to do with anything. Your mind is your cells. We're here to get in mind, body, spirit balance. And so, yeah, waking up is kind of cool, though, because all of a sudden, yeah, it's like I've got magic powers, But at the same rate, I'm like, how thick are you? This has been happening your whole life. You've been dreaming of this guy, and you didn't even realize what it meant, how silly is that, So, coming out of the psychic closet, yeah. It's quite the trip. And what else can you call it? I mean, it's a trip, right? This started for me 4 years ago, and that was my jolt, my awakening, if you will. And I drove through a big red door, and I had quite the experience. But that was the awakening that started me waking up, and it was my glimpse into the future. And I saw, and I felt, and I was, and I became my future self that I hadn't become yet, because I was kind of shifting through time while I was going through this experience and such. So that was the beginning of it. And all of these animals started hanging around me and all of that stuff. And so, that was part of it too. So obviously there's something going on about me. I had it's kind of a Kundalini awakening, but it was more than that. I felt the snake go through me and crawl through my chakras, and it was really interesting. But anyways, I felt that all happen, and it felt very interesting. It was, actually quite pleasant, actually, of a feeling. I don't know how to explain it. There was some sort of a euphoria going on, but so I had quite the experience back then. But trying, and I had a bunch of downloads, and I had animals following me, and there was just like this love vibration just following me around, and it was kind of crazy, but so coming out of the psychic closet, I mean, here's the joke, you know, I mean, so now I'm finding out that all of these things that I have been thinking all of this time, they're true. So coming out of the psychic closet for me is kind of like coming out of fantasy world, but only you're finding out that it's not fantasy, that it's real. And then it just all of a sudden makes sense. Oh, okay. So I've been dreaming that I've been making movies with Vin my whole life or for the last 15 years or so, because I'm really going to make movies with Vin. Oh, I see. You know, so it's becoming like clear. You know, it didn't even become even clear. I mean, like my unseen guides are telling me this stuff. I mean, really, honestly, I'm like, okay, so I don't get it. Who's Vin? You know, why am I dreaming of this guy? So I finally asked them, you know, why am I dreaming of this guy? And, you know, I've had this answer for a long time, but I didn't really know what it meant. So my unseen guides, they're like, oh, well, if you were half the world, and he would be the other half of the world. And I'm like, okay, you know, what does that supposed to mean, you know? And they're like, oh, well, okay. If you were a boy, you would be Vin. And if Vin was a girl, he would be you. I'm like, okay, you know, what are you talking about? You know, and then all of a sudden, you know, this is like 2 years ago. And then all of a sudden, like, they're like talking about twin flames all over the place, you know, and I'm like, I thought a twin flame and a soulmate, I thought it was the same thing, you know. I'm like going, okay, you know, I don't need to read about that, right? So I skipped over it. And finally I was talking to an angel one day, and one of my angel friends, and she was telling me that, oh, well, because I told her what my unseen guides had told me about Vin and me, and I was trying to make sense of it, and she's all, oh, well, he's your twin flame. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, so yeah, I guess that kind of makes sense. But okay, so seriously, it didn't even really still, okay, like, okay, well, yeah, I believe my unseen, I follow my unseen. I am like several hundred miles away from where I used to live, been here 4 months, living in Steamboat, trying to find my dream house, following my unseen guides because they say it's here and it's mine when I get it. So yeah, you know, but so this is the part where your cells have been talking to you all this time. And this is the part where you go, oh, that's what you meant. Oh, yeah. Okay, so it's the duh moments or the epiphany moments where you're like, it all dawns on you. Oh my gosh, that's why this has been going on all this time. That's why this has been happening. That's why this has been happening. So yeah, waking up, coming out of your psychic closet, you know, being able to actually talk about this stuff and have people understand it because there's others like you. That's the most amazing thing. And I have to cut this video short because I'm out of time. But I love you all so much. And thank you for listening to me coming out of my psychic closet. Love you all.